welcome to another episode of the VIA VHS podcast, your virtual video store. Each week we go back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and we look back at a movie that we might have nostalgia for, and we see if it still holds up, see if we still love it, or if it's a giant pile of ass. This week we're looking at a movie that was intended to be basically a feature-length kids toy commercial, and it turned out to be one of the most traumatic experiences of the 80s. And we're looking at Transformers the movie. Ooh, look at that. So
Look,
do you have a
look at that
clamshell?
clamshell.
Oh, I don't have the clamshell.
Well, mine's
But
also called the Special Collector's Edition.
the special collector's edition. Well, maybe yours has that thing on the end where they like some of the versions have a thing where Optimus Prime will return.
Yeah, it might have something like that. I can't remember. But I kid you not, I was saying about this today when I was driving around and thinking about Transformers and all that stuff that
As one does.
as one does, as you're
Yeah.
driving a vehicle, you're always like, how cool this would be if I just transformed right now and flew off into space.
Yeah.
But I think this is probably my favorite animated movie of all time.
Ooh.
Because when I was a kid, I loved the living daylights out of this. And ironically, the movie is really what introduced me to Transformers. Because I didn't get to technically see the cartoon show. I never saw it on TV, actually. I saw it by renting at the VHS store, and you get the tapes. And it started with the movie. My buddy Kyle rented Transformers. He's like, dude, you got to come check this movie out. And we're probably all 6 years old and whatnot. And watched it, loved it, watched it many times over, and then eventually kind of got the other random ass tapes of like the TV show. And then way down the line, I finally got like the DVD set and was able to kind of watch through more of it. But no, to me, it's like, dude, everything about this movie, it just hits on all fronts for me. I think the animation's just out of this world good. Like so good that it's kind of hard for me to even think of another movie that even gets close to how good this one's put together. The soundtrack is literally practically one of the best ones right there with Rocky IV, because of course it's got Vince DiCola in it and all that good stuff. And then the fact that Transformers itself is such a cool concept, especially when you are a kid. The idea of robots transforming into cars, and then everything else being like, oh, it's fighter jets or it's helicopters and it's construction sets and dinosaurs and all this stuff. That there's a lot of magic for me from back in the day of why I really enjoyed this.
I missed out on Transformers. I remember watching it as a kid a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, whatever local channel I was watching that showed this, I feel like Transformers and G.I. Joe were on back to back.
Yeah, that used to be
And
the big thing.
yeah, and so I remember watching a little bit of it, but right as the like Transformers wave was kind of cresting is when like Ninja Turtles came through,
Yeah,
and yeah,
Turtles pretty much knocked them right off. In a
yeah.
sense.
And so that hit at the right at the perfect time for me, the Ninja Turtles. So I kind of wasn't interested in Transformers at all when I was a kid. I mean, I had a couple toys and I thought it was cool, but I mean, I missed the big wave.
Yeah.
So I didn't see this movie at all until much later. And I mean, definitely after I saw the Michael Bay stuff.
Oh wow, so you're way later than that then.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Bay was those whatever they are. If you want to call them movies, that's fine. Those movies are my introduction pretty much to Transformers in terms of like from a narrative
Yeah.
perspective. Like I knew who Optimus Prime was and maybe Megatron, but I didn't know who the fuck Bumblebee was. I didn't know any of that stuff. So, for better or for worse, Bayhem is what introduced me to the Transformers, and then now I'm more up to speed. But, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
see,
kind of
I
sad.
was that guy when I think Ryan Dennigan sat me down to watch Transformers on DVD when it came out, the Michael Bay one. And I remember I just kind of sat there, Attitude Era, arms crossed, watching it, being pretty much like, not my Transformers,
Yeah,
just kind of like, nope, this is nothing like it. Later on, I gave them kind of the open-minded second watch and went through the Michael Bay ones. And if you take them for what they are fun and enjoyable, and there is moments in them. There's a lot of goof in between, but I ended up, once I opened my mind to it, I liked them more than they were, but they are not 86 movie. The 86
no,
movie is so radically good and so radically almost adult and dialed in
well,
that
aesthetically, that look works better for the Transformers
They
than
did.
yeah.
Because, well, I mean, I was that guy in like the early 2000s, been like, they should have just did it like a Godzilla movie. That would have looked better anyways. Just put guys in suits.
Yeah, I mean, it would have probably looked bad. I mean, the Transformers movies are just so obnoxious. Now, I'm slightly apologetic of the Michael Bay Transformer movies because he said before, and we've referenced this, that he makes movies for 14-year-old boys. And when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, oh, okay, well, the Megan Fox stuff makes perfect sense. Like all that, it makes perfect sense, but I still despise them. I will say this: best trailers for any movie in history. Like, all the trailers for those Transformer movies, I got suckered each time.
The
Every
trailer might
single
be better than the
time.
movie.
Oh, it 100% is. Every single time a Transformers trailer would come out, I'm like, "This one will be good." They got me every time. Fast and Furious couldn't do that. Not even Jurassic Park can do that because I
Yeah.
know it's not gonna be good anymore.
Well,
But for
I've just accepted that without Michael Crichton, there is no Jurassic Park.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Those Transformers movies, man, he really hit the nail on the head with those trailers. They were just so good. But, yeah, and I can't really say much for them. I saw the first 3 in theaters, I think.
Yeah, see, I oddly came to them really late, as I bought, like, a Blu-ray set that had maybe, like, 1 through 4 or 5, whatever it was at about that time period for, like, 20 bucks off Amazon. I'm like, "I'm gonna sit down and watch all these." And then I was all, "Oh, okay." And then I saw, like, the last couple of them in theater. So,
Yeah.
like, I came to it real late, but as I said, when I kinda opened my mind and oddly, I was that person that I think Transformers 3 was the best one out of the Michael Bay ones.
Yeah, that's the one I hated. I saw that one in theaters, and I was like, "Oh, this movie, fuck this movie." I I haven't seen all of them. I didn't see the Mark Wahlberg ones.
I thought those ones were fine too. Everybody kinda gave those ones shit, but I thought, like I'm like, I think Mark Wahlberg kinda works a little bit better than, what's his face?
Yeah, well, probably. But I will say I did watch Bumblebee, and then whatever the last one was, Rise of the Beast or whatever it was called, or had the Beast Wars shit in it.
Yo, yeah, I did I saw that. I saw
Yeah,
both those.
those 2 were good, I thought.
I
But
think the
it was
Bumblebee is the one that started off extremely good, like, the first
oh,
15 minutes or
it
10 minutes,
was.
probably wasn't even that long, probably like 7 minutes, because it looked like '80s Transformers, and then,
It
like,
did.
it kinda turned into another. Because this is my biggest problem with all the Michael Bay movies that does not happen in Transformers '86. They focus so much on the human characters, and it's like, none of us are here to see the fucking human characters. I don't need a human character to relate. I can literally relate to any robot, and that make me sound like I'm some kinda anti-empathy person, but, like, no, I'm here for the Transformers. That's what I wanna see, you
Yeah,
know? They do have, like, 2 human characters. Of course, they got Spike and his boy in the movie, but they are there just enough to be, like, just to help out a couple times, but they never get in the way. The story is not about them. If Megatron stepped on one of them at one moment, they would be kind of sad for a second, and they would carry on. Nothing
yeah,
could change story wise. Where
yeah,
in the Michael Bay ones, it's always like, oh, here's the wacky family, and oh, my girlfriend, and oh no, there's all this stuff. And it's like, you gotta hide the robot in the room, and the mom's smoking pot and all this stuff. And it's like, what the serious fuck's going on? At least when the action finally starts up, you're like, okay, this is kind of cool. They're
yeah.
slamming each other, blasting through the forest and everything like that. But
Bumblebee did it the best out of all of them.
yeah, but that one still had a little too much of, like, the human interaction because there's, like,
Yeah.
the girl or whatnot, and it was just kinda like, "Come on, we can get."
We want the Transformer movies to be like the first 15 minutes of Bumblebee where they're on Cybertron and they're like
Yeah,
fight like that's what we want.
that
Eh,
was it. It's like, if that was the whole movie, the movie'd be amazing.
yeah. And they did make that Transformers 1 movie. It was like
You
last year and my
I
kids
and
watched that. It was good.
ironically, Dunnigan told me that that movie was actually really good, and I was like,
It
"Get the
was
fuck
good.
out." I was like, "That
Yeah.
trailer looks so stupid. Are you kidding me? That was actually good?"
Yeah. It
And he
was
was like, "No, it's actually pretty good."
yeah, I was pretty impressed with it. My kids watched it. And I mean I mean I was a sucker because it was Rolling Stones was in the trailer. It had Rolling
Yeah,
Stones
well,
music.
that's
And so I was like, "Okay, this is perfect. I mean, start me up, come on." So I watched it and I was like, "Okay, this is pretty solid." I would say probably the second best one.
interesting. What do you think's the
So,
first best one? First, is it the '86 one, or are we talking about just Michael Bay's?
well, no, it's the 86 one's probably the
Yeah,
best one,
okay.
even for all its faults, which we'll get to in the review. But It's probably the best one, and but, there's a lot of things about it that's still just like, "What the fuck were you thinking?" But, it's still fun, but we got a lot to say, so let's go ahead and jump into the flash I almost said the flashback portal, holy shit. Let's go ahead and jump into the tail of the tape. Whatever the gimmick is, it's whatever. Um, so if you never listened to the show before, the tail of the tape, we go back and we go back to the week the movie was released and we look at some of the pop culture or the news around the movie, if there's anything to talk about. But we always look at the box office and we just kind of travel back in time to when this movie was in theaters. In this case, we're going back to August 8th, 1986, when Transformers the movie hit theaters. And this one, box office bomb, huge bust.
Yeah, well, this is that weird era where, like, selling a cartoon movie was a real chore, because we weren't in the era where you're gonna have adults going to buy, tickets and so on like that. They might take their kids, but if you don't think about it, but if you don't have, like, 30-year-olds showing up to buy a bunch of tickets,
Hmm.
you're not making a profit necessarily.
No, no, sorry, my tripod's giving me all kinds of trouble, y'all. So yeah, release date August 8th, 1986. Director Nelson Shin, which I didn't even look up. Did he do anything else?
You might have done something, you never know.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Now, writer is Ron Friedman. Now, he is the official writer, but basically, he was just trying to make sense out of the mess that Hasbro was getting. Hasbro had a very specific agenda for this movie, and it was sell more toys.
Yeah, well, it
And
was the first thing is, "No, no, get rid of the old line, introduce the new line."
yeah, I mean, it's ultimate goal. We got to sell more toys, but to do that, we got to clear the shelves. We got to clear all the back stock, clear the inventory, and make mom and dad, who's just bought all the characters, buy all this new inventory. See, this is where Ninja Turtles got it right because they didn't have to kill off, and we'll get to that in a minute. They didn't have to kill off, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello. They didn't have to do that to introduce a bunch of new characters.
Yeah, new
So
outfits.
yeah, yes, you keep the core group that the kids are attached to, that they love, and then you add, Mondo Gecko, you add a Baxter Stockman, you add Casey Jones, man, like you
Yeah,
had like Usagi Yojimbo, you had all these cool characters, and the kids
and
just
the variants.
and the variants of those characters. Oh, you got Basketball Donnie,
Mhm.
Surfing Mikey, I have them all. That's what the Ninja Turtles did well, but Transformers at the time was like, "No, we gotta kill these fuckers. They all gotta die, and we're gonna clear the shelves. We're going to take all these characters that the kids have, become to love and cherish, and we're just gonna get rid of them, and we're gonna bring these new guys in." Bold.
Yeah, I give 'em a lot of credit for it. I know that that's something that a lot of people look, like, down upon. I'm like, I think that ballsy approach because, maybe that's why, 1, I start off the movie, so, like, I saw it kinda as is, so maybe I wasn't nearly as
Right.
attached as if you were watching the first 2 seasons or whatever it was, or I can't remember. This might
That's
actually
true.
came out after season 1, but,
At
I thought
season 2, it came out
it's
after
it's
season 2.
between season 2 and 3. Okay, that's what I thought. So I wasn't nearly as attached, so I could kinda go into it a little bit more open-minded. But the fact is that was always something that bothered me a lot as a young kid, is that a lot of TV shows, especially '70s stuff, and of course I watched so much '70s cartoons, but, like, is that they felt like there was no, like, trials and tribulations and no real, like, punishment for making mistakes and so on like that.
No
You never
stakes.
Yeah, no stakes, you never saw characters die and all that kinda stuff, and I think that's something I've always really appreciated about the Transformers is like, dude, they kill people left and right with no remorse, and it's almost like that feels so much more real, and then, like, for the longest time, that bothered me in so many shows. I think that's why I also like Dragon Ball Z so much is because people died in that. Of course, they could be kinda brought back to life, but the full fact is that they died,
Yeah,
and something about having death in cartoon shows really, like, grounds it a lot more and makes it feel more real.
yeah. We'll elaborate more on that in rewind review because there's a lot to say about it because
Yeah,
that's basically the legacy of the movie. I mean, but it was bold and maybe foolish. I mean, the song "Dare to Be Stupid" is on the soundtrack.
yeah. So you got Weird Al, which
Yeah, um, yeah, which is awesome. By the way, I had no idea he was on the soundtrack. I
dude, I kid
totally
you not.
forgot.
When I saw Weird Al last year, he played Dare to Be Stupid in concert, and it was so magical.
See,
I was so pumped.
I thought that was for UHF this whole time.
No, because it comes off of oh geez, the hell is that album? I used to have it on record. I remember.
Is the one that's
I think it's
bad, like
Weird Al in
bad
3D.
Michael Jackson? Yeah,
No, it's before all that. So it's Weird Al in 3D. I think is what the album's called.
gotcha.
And then they put that song in here. But yeah, he played that live, and I was like, "Oh, that's sweet," because I didn't see him play that last time I saw him.
Mm, Dare to Be Stupid. Well, the great soundtrack, as you mentioned, for this Fitz Cola, Stan Bush,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah,
Um,
killer songs. Like
yeah.
literally, it's this and Rocky Four. I think are probably like the two best '80s soundtracks.
Oh, this is the kids Rocky Four.
Yeah. Well, that is just the fact it's got so much good heavy metal stuff on there too. Like,
Yeah, yeah. This Raddest. Okay, definitely the Raddest kids movie.
yeah, by far,
There's
especially for the
no.
'80s. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I don't think there's even a competition. Like the closest thing is heavy metal itself for
yeah,
like secondary best '80s movie.
yeah. Well, my favorite '80s animated movie is Land Before Time.
Yeah, that's a good movie too. It'd be
But
even better if it had a heavy metal sound.
no, you can't get rid of no.
No, I was joking on that.
The Horner score for Before Time is so good. Like, little Fitz mom is dead. You know. What if like when Little Fitz mom died, it was just like you got the touch.
Stan Bush, come on in.
Oh
We were going
man,
to use this song on a Stallone movie, but we decided
yeah,
Land Before Time was it.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Anything else left over from Rocky Four, or like oh, No Easy Way Out would be a really good Land Before Time montage song.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. There's no easy way out. And then like Littlefoot's driving in this Ferrari all angsty. Um but yeah, Vince Cola does the music. Ron Friedman wrote it but hates it and was very mad about the decision they had to make. So were the writers of the TV show. Cast, this is the fucking craziest part. Orson Welles, last
In his last
role,
movie.
his last anything he ever did creatively, I would assume, is Unicron
Yeah,
in Transformers the movie. Orson, director of Citizen Kane.
exactly. Yeah, the guy
Yeah.
who did the War of the Worlds radio show. And
Yeah.
also, speaking of even other things we did, the Phantom radio show.
Oh, there you go. Orson Welles,
Yeah.
Unicron. Robert Stack, who of course we all know from Unsolved Mysteries and other good movies, but I
Yeah,
always
Beavis
think
and
of him.
Butthead. Oh,
Yeah.
well, he's a big voiceover guy that
Oh
like
yeah.
then Unsolved Mysteries became like the main thing he's known for.
Creepiest theme song ever. Do 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 do
Love
do.
that.
I think it would like make me shit my pants.
Yeah, dude. When I was a kid, you just get the chills when that came on.
Yeah, there's like I've always had a problem with like horror movies never gave me nightmares. And I'm jealous of people who get really scared from horror movies or like haunted houses and stuff. It just didn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't work
Man,
the same way for me either. But
yeah. Unsolved Mysteries though, kid gets abducted at a like fair and haven't seen him in 40 years. Things like that. That scares the shit out of you.
well, it's that one, and you combined it with the X Files theme at the same time period.
X-Files theme is really scary too, especially
Yeah,
if you wake up to it.
it's just so eerie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, totally agree. Robert Stack though, he
Yeah,
plays
he's the man.
Ultra Magnus. Not a condom.
It could be.
It could be. Leonard Nimoy, Galvatron. This is a really cool little eclectic group of people here.
It really is. Yeah.
Leonard Nimoy is voicing Galvatron. Of course, Peter Cullen is Optimus Prime, as always.
Mhm.
Scatman Crothers. He
Yep.
just gets more eclectic.
Yeah, as Jazz.
As Jazz.
Yeah, I fucking
Of
love
course.
Scatman. I get so excited when I see Scatman Crothers appear in anything.
But you can't have him play any other character but Jazz when his name is Scatman. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It just come on.
He's Hong
J
Kong Phooey.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Which
Uh,
when you think about that show in like hindsight, it's like, okay, it's a 70s show about a black guy who's a dog who's also a janitor who does kung fu on the side.
I mean, whatever.
Ah, yeah, I loved it as a kid.
Yeah. So, Judd Nelson,
Hmm.
he plays Hot Rod and Rodimus Prime, also not a condom.
Great name, Raddest Prime.
Yeah. Casey Casey Kasem,
Original
Reacher Top
Shaggy.
40. Yeah, the original. Oh, like you showing Scoob.
Like the
He's
Zoinks.
Cliff Jumper.
Hmm.
Yeah, right. He's Rift Jumper.
Scooby Doo's
um,
also in this too.
yeah, Frank. Well, also, well, Fake Walker plays Megatron. Who's Scooby?
Frank Welker played. Well, he's played Scooby before.
Okay. Okay. I was thinking maybe that was what you were talking
He
about.
also did Fred as well, which I think is the weirdest one. He does Fred and Scooby.
That's right. I knew he did Fred. I didn't know he did Scoob.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on all of them, but I know he has a handful of times.
Hmm. Synopsis. Let me see if I can read this because it's dim in here. The war between Autobots and Decepticons escalates as a planet-eating force called Unicron threatens everything, forcing new heroes to rise after devastating losses.
Yes, most
Yeah,
devastating.
the most devastating losses. Box office again, not very good. Total gross 5.8 million on a budget of $6 million.
Yeah,
Now, quick math tells you that they lost money.
exactly. And sadly, it came in at number 13, which is not good back in the day when cinemas mostly only had at maximum 5.
Yeah, yeah. This is bad all around. Now, of course, I don't think they intended this because VHS was still like this. They were right on the cusp of it becoming big because Top Gun's the movie that broke the code, right? And got
Hmm.
the prices down to like normal prices where normal, people would buy it. This was still released at like $80-$90 originally. But once Top Gun hit, which is around the same time as this movie, it started adjusting the prices for VHS, and this became a huge selling VHS and made tons of money. I mean, we both have it, you know. It's
Yeah.
it's a big VHS release. So it made its money there, I think.
Yeah, well, and I think
Um,
that's the thing is that's where it needed to be, especially for back in the day, a kids movie and so on like that. Like it's just not gonna probably cut it in theaters. Because that's the weird that's the kind of the hard audience to sort of sell for, is that, like, in a sense, like, you would almost say 12 and under, because they don't really have their own expendable money yet. They gotta drag their parents there. They can't just really be dropped off.
mhm.
So it's a tough one where, like, teenagers, you can get a lot of money out of because they got expendable money. They're mostly gonna just get dropped off anyways at the theater or walk to it, you know?
Well, I will say one thing I thought was interesting when I was looking at the Billboard magazine from this particular week. One of the very first article in there was about Disney at Christmas time of '86 was going to release this Yule basically marketing campaign to bring Disney VHS home. And they
Mhm.
were going to start getting prices, reasonable so people could buy a bunch of Disney VHS for Christmas of '86. So it was everybody understood in the market, like, okay, VHS, we're going to figure this thing out and get it into people's homes. And it's going to be a big deal. And '86 was the year where that really, it was around, but VCRs were mostly for recording shit off television.
Yeah, it
And
was
people
it
were
was your
making,
DVR.
yeah. And then you would go rent movies. But now it was becoming a thing. Well, okay, well, these could be fucking Christmas gifts, you know?
Yeah, these could be owned, and they're not gonna be $80 like Scarface and Rambo 2.
Right, right. So this was, I think, released the next March. It was still $80 when it was released. Transformers was, but it didn't kind of figure it out. But the box office. I'm just gonna read you the movies real quick that lead up to Transformers the movie at number 13. Aliens, Karate Kid Part 2, Top Gun, One Crazy Summer, Flight of the Navigator, Ruthless People, Howard the Duck finished above Transformers the movie.
And it's on its
Uh,
second week.
and it's on the second week. Nothing in Common, A Fine Mess, heartburn. These are 2 movies in a row 3 movies in a row I didn't even fucking heard of. Um, Back to School, which is
R-
good.
yeah, Rodney Dangerfield.
There you go. And, About Last Night, and then Transformers the movie. Opening at 13th. Rough.
Yeah, that is a tough one, you know.
It's interesting because I don't know how much this is a weird concept because how much marketing money do you put into something that is essentially marketing itself? You know
Yeah,
what I
it
mean?
seems like the only thing you have to do is just run a commercial at the tail end of every Transformers and G.I. Joe episode being like, "Hey, new movie coming soon." That's it. You got them all in there.
30 seconds off the show. Just take 30 seconds off the show, throw the thing in there, Transformers and G.I. Joe, and then
Mhm.
next year do the vice versa when the G.I. Joe movie comes out. Yeah, it's weird. I don't feel like I don't know what the marketing was like for this movie, but presumably wasn't very good. But also at the same time, yeah, how do you market what is essentially marketing? Because that's Hasbro's, thoughts on this movie was essentially just that. It was marketing. They weren't interested in telling a story or expanding the lore or any of that. It was just buy some fucking toys, you know? So
Yeah, the Hasbro motto, "Kids are fucking stupid," you know?
is that the real Hasbro model
It is. That's
motto?
when you walk in the building, high five that as you walk in.
Kids are fucking stupid. Um, well, we got a lot to say about this movie, so let's go ahead and jump into the tail of the tape. I'm sorry, the fucking rewind review. God damn it.
Rewind that shit back up and do it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. No, we're gonna fucking roll with it. God damn it. We're back. This is the rewind review. I'm not sure what anything else is tonight, but I do know that this is the rewind review.
This is where it all starts to make sense. Well,
Yeah.
speaking I gotta say
I
this.
wouldn't say that, but go ahead.
But I gotta say this. I think this is also one of the first times that a cartoon TV show was like, "We're gonna make a movie off this and put it in theaters." I don't think that was a very common practice at all at this time period, because I was trying to think of, like, there's not a Johnny Quest movie from the '60s that does this. There's not a Scooby-Doo movie that does this. I'm even trying to think of Disney movies that had a cartoon show that kinda other than, like, something that has, like, Mickey Mouse in it or some shit, but, like, I can't think of it. Like, He-Man don't think has a movie that's, does He-Man even have a movie? Not the live action one, but, like, a animated one?
Animated? I don't think so. Not at least not theatrically.
Yeah, so I really actually couldn't think of a theatrical movie. There probably might be. I'm not gonna say there isn't, but for the most part, it seems like this movie is kinda breaking ground by being like, "Hey, it's a TV show, and now we got a big theatrical movie."
Well, this is all because of Star Wars. Star Wars starts the whole trend like, "Hey, look at these fucking toys, buy them." I
Mhm.
mean, they weren't the first ones to do them, but they were the first ones to really do it. You know what I
Well,
mean?
they're the first ones to make some really legitimate, like, action figures, and plus those
Yeah.
Transformers toys from especially the '80s ones where they're all metal, and the fact that they literally transform like they do in the show. It's not like so many other gimmicky toys you kinda get as a kid where it's not like the one that you saw on TV in a sense. These ones
Yeah.
were the real deal.
Oh yeah, those original toys were amazing. And what's interesting about these shows, like well, G.I. Joe was out before this, but it was kind of transformed in the 80s and made more of a machine by
Mhm.
Hasbro. But with Star Wars, it was like, hey, let's get this thing in movies. Let's see how much we can make in cinema. And then the toy business kind of took over the
Mhm.
merchandising. But these were constructed solely, these shows like Transformers, G.I. Joe, a lot of the other ones that come along, they were made specifically just to sell toys. They were
Yeah.
just that vehicle. It was just literally toy commercial every week. And so that was the original concept, and so, no, they didn't really they cared if the show did well, but that wasn't their motivation, was, like, ratings and stuff. It was, like, how many people were gonna buy these toys every single week. Um, So I guess that's why these movies had to exist. They had to make movies for GI Joe and Transformers because now you can sell more toys, and now like you're taking it to the next level. And now you're truly like Star Wars. Now you got movies, you got TV show, you got action figures, comic books, you got everything. So
Yeah, it's full multimedia experience.
the full multimedia experience. But I think this one is important because it learns a lesson right away that okay, introduce new characters, sell new toys, but you don't fuck with the OGs.
Yeah, like the good majority of them, because I think Bumblebee's the only one that survives,
Yeah. And
and he's got
Bumblebee,
like 2 lines.
yeah, like Bumblebee's kind of forgotten in this movie. It's all about the new play the hits. Okay. Play the hits. Don't play, the new stuff, but we want you to buy the new stuff. So, fuck Optimus Prime. And this movie, I watched a little bit of the TV show,
Mhm.
and it's basically, you know, the Decepticons have a scheme each week. The Autobots figure it out. Blah 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 blah. It's a kids'
Yeah,
TV show. It's the
yeah,
same
they're
thing
always
every week.
going after the Energon cubes. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
It's about getting, just getting the energy, getting high on your own supply.
yeah. This movie goes from it starts off Saturday morning cartoon and goes straight into war crimes. Like
Yeah,
it's
it just
like,
and I think that's why I love it so much is the fact that it just goes like, yeah, characters die left and right. It takes itself real serious and stuff. And even when you do have like, kind of in the first 20 minutes, Optimus Prime comes in. He's just got the badass score carrying him on. He's blasting dudes and so on like that. He's coming to save the day because the Decepticons are coming in. They're literally coming to Autobot City and whatnot, destroying, killing guys left and right, wrecking havoc. And it's like shit's getting real.
yeah,
It's literally going down, and this war is, there's actual casualties and so on like that.
yeah.
And
It's
the
like
fact
Game
that
of
him and
Thrones.
yeah, and the fact that him and Megatron literally duke it out, just literally destroying each other, I think is just so cool. The fact that like, yeah, you know what? Not all things work out. We're not gonna have these heroes. I remember even that was a thing that used to bother me a lot in the G.I. Joe cartoon, is that like they always all survived every single time. That used to be like, why? You know what I mean? That's not how real life works. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't want the character. I want shit to go down, and be like, well, guess what? It didn't all work out this time.
yeah. It's also a kid show. So there's that element to
This
it
is
too.
me as like a 6-year-old kid having these thoughts.
I know, but yeah, me too. But we're wired differently.
Yeah.
I mean, but probably because of shit like this. But like if I'm my kid, what's he into? Sonic. Okay, he's watching this new Sonic show, and they fucking kill Knuckles like 25 minutes in to this like new movie, and like
And then
Knuckles is like
chuck his
bleeding
body
out.
out into
He's trying,
space.
yeah, but no, like Knuckles and Shadow get into a fight to the death, and they both die. And then like Knuckles is bleeding out, and he like pulls out like some like he's got the chaos symbol, right? And he hands it to Sonic. Oh, you must protect this now. And he's like, oh my god. And then for some reason Sonic's really not there that much. And now these all these new fucking hedgehogs are there. It would be like my son would be like, what is going on? He'd cry because he's like, you killed Knuckles, and then this is like even worse because like Optimus Prime is the transformer, he's the guy, and they 25 minutes in, and you don't it's not set up like that's about to happen. It's not ominous.
No.
It's set up because you got the touch starts playing. He comes in, starts wrecking shit. Boom, like flipping through the air, guns blazing. He's
He's
like,
gonna
okay,
save the day.
he's gonna save the day. I mean, the cool theme song has jumped in there. You got the touch. I mean, he's fucking shit up. So there's no ominous tone. There's no ominous music. You think he's about to wreck shit like 30 minutes into the movie, and the next thing you know, mortal wounds. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Megatron gets the better of him and whatnot like that. And they're just going back and forth. Of course, it's because Hot Rod messes up.
he's a
That's the
bitch.
whole
He, first of all, here's what bothers me about it. I think what made it worse is that any of the characters they were trying to replace Optimus Prime with aren't as nearly as cool as Optimus Prime.
Well, I think it's kinda hard to be as cool as Optimus Prime. That's just gonna
Exactly.
be the one. I do kinda like that the choices they go with, though, because at first you kinda feel like you got knockoff Optimus Prime by the
Yeah,
Unsolved
Ultra
Mysteries
Magnet, yeah.
guy, but I kinda
Yeah.
like that, though, because it's like the way that his character sort of plays it is that he's like, "I'm not worthy. I shouldn't be taking the mantle," and Optimus Prime, of course, looks at him and goes, "Neither was I when I was your age," or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, and then he's designed to look like the new Optimus Prime. We're gonna sell more toys. This is the new leader, and he's like looks like buffer, stronger Optimus Prime. And but it's just like, why have that? You already have Optimus Prime. I mean, I'm pretty sure when they created these Transformers and they sat down and went to that guy who was sitting at a desk at Marvel and here's all these fucking Japanese toys. You got to make a story for them in like 5 minutes. Optimus Prime was the one that came out on top. Like everybody knew this is the shit. This is the
Yeah,
main one.
America, big old
Yeah,
semi truck. Come on.
yeah. This one. We got a semi truck and we got a gun. These are the two top ones.
And he's red, white, and blue.
Yeah, of course he is. So
You gotta
yeah,
have that.
yeah. It felt like I mean, there's a lot of parallels between this and Rocky 4. This is even sadder than Apollo Creed dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This actually is one of the most I remember, like, because I had this Transformers soundtrack, or I still have this Transformers soundtrack. Whenever the Death of Optimus Prime song comes on, I felt like I always had to kinda skip it, It would, like, take you back too much, and it's amazing song, like, it's so
PTSD.
dialed in, because it kinda has, like, his death in it, and it's sad and, ominous, and then all of a sudden it picks up, like, almost like as he's, like, going off into the Matrix and so on like that, and
Yeah.
it's like, life's gonna be okay kinda thing. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of valuable lessons in this movie that a kid needs to know.
Yeah. Like you're gonna fucking die. So,
And
I
don't worry,
mean,
season 3 will bring back Optimus Prime, so
yeah, they kind of bitched out. Like once you did it, like I don't like that they did it, but then once you do it, you can't undo it, right?
especially when you only have one more season, it's like you should have just kept
Yeah.
it that.
Yeah. Just ride it out. But I mean, I guess for future incarnations of Transformers for future canon, it makes
Mhm.
sense to kind of bring them back, because everybody loves Optimus Prime and Rodius or whatever his name, Rodius Prime or whatever. That one, he sucks. I
I
just,
still kinda like him. I mean, I kind of, as I said, since growing up with this movie, like, I saw him a lot of times as kinda like the main character in a weird way,
yeah. Well,
So
he
I was
is. He is ultimately the main
yeah,
character.
he's the main character in here and so on. He does make some mistakes, but he is the young buck guy getting into
Yeah.
here. The one guy I like a lot is Cup. He's one of the newer characters in here too, and he's just the old war-torn dude who's voiced by literally a guy who was in silent era movies. But yeah, he's the one that he was always like one of my favorite characters watching this.
Yeah. So I mean, they basically Transformers the movie. They are clearing out the old inventory. They're bringing in the new line for 1986, all the new toys, and you get a lot of interesting new characters. I don't know if they live up to the old ones, but you know, they try to. So Optimus Prime dies, so does Megatron. And
Yeah,
then Megatron gets a whole new body and facelift because you can't just sell more Megatron toys. You need, to make them is he Galvatron?
he's Galvatron. Well,
Yeah.
this is the thing too, is even as a kid, I thought, why does Megatron have like the goofiest like transforming ability out of all the characters? Because
The
Megatron's
gun's
ability
stupid.
he doesn't just transform into like a gun. Like, see, at least Galvatron transforms into a giant turret. That makes sense. Megatron transforms into a handheld blaster that somebody else has to fire. I always thought that was the what?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I get it as a toy, like, without a story or context, he transforms to a gun that you can use to shoot your friends.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But in a character, I just thought, like, why does he
Yeah.
transform like that? But I do
It
like how, like, when the characters do die, Optimus has like almost like this great send-off funeral of all his friends standing around, shedding a tear and everything like that. Megatron died. He's just a busted old piece of crap. They're flying off into space, and all his like cohorts just chuck him out of the fucking space station.
he's like
And then
in
they decide to
Starscream.
party it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Starscream's like, "You're gonna die," and then and he's like, "I'm still, I still work, like I'm still alive." And he's like, "Well, he's dead. No, I'm definitely still alive. Don't throw me out of the ship. No, fuck you." And he chucks him out.
Starscream will be the new hero of this.
Yeah. I knew he had it coming the second that happened. I was like, yeah, this guy's gonna get fucked. He did too. Um, so Starscream, very short-lived. He gets a dope crown though.
Yeah, he does. I
They
like
had that shit
Starscream.
ready. I mean, it's
Yeah.
cool, but oh man, yeah, Starscream doesn't even get like so completely just throws Megatron under the bus or out of the ship.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's how you get the new Galvatron because you still, you're just upgrading, which is what they should have done with Optimus Prime. They should just upgrade them.
Yeah, that would have been the thing to do too, is just to like because yeah, once again, they're robots. You can fuse these parts back together.
Yeah, also, well, it would have been really cool if you think he dies, but then at the end of the movie, like when all hope is lost and
And they pull
Optimus
that
Prime,
matrix apart.
yeah, he's like Megamus Prime. He could have been like that big, what's that big vehicle that rolls the space shuttles?
Oh yeah. I don't know
Yeah,
what the hell it's called, but yeah.
yeah, whatever that big fucker is, that's what he should have been. And they messed that up, but he dies. Megatron kind of dies, turns into Galvatron, and this happens by this new character voiced by the director of Citizen Kane, Orson Welles. In his last ever role, he is some nonsensical. He must need money, man, because he's like, I read some quotes from his biography. He's like, I'm a big toy that kills a bunch of little toys, and that's basically
Well,
my
I
job.
also like too when they talk about when he came into the voice, they're like, Orson Welles comes in to play a planet, and he looks like a planet because he's like 400 pounds at this point.
Oh my gosh, that's so terrible, but it's hilarious to me in retrospect because it's been 40 years now. We can laugh about it. Like you have this just acclaimed like head guy. You know what I mean? Like Orson
Yeah.
Welles, direct Citizen Kane. Like he is
Such
very, very,
people, yeah.
yeah. He's a great, great, huge icon in Hollywood. And then his last thing is like voicing Unicron in a Transformers movie that opens 13th at the box office behind some fucking Demi Moore movie
You know
that
what?
nobody's ever heard of.
I'm gonna say this though. I think that's that one that like probably at the time it doesn't seem like much. I think is a legacy thing. That's actually one of the coolest ways you can kind of go out.
Oh, I don't know.
It's kind of like Marlon Brando. The last thing that he ever did was the Godfather video game.
Oh, see, I thought the last thing he did was that, like that Michael Jackson video. Um, the "You Rocked My World, you know you did," because Michael Madsen's in there. He's one of like the henchmen,
Oh yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah,
Chris Tucker's in there. I just watched it. My son's really into Michael
I
Jackson right now.
I think that was about 5 or 6 years earlier than the Godfather game.
So yeah.
So that
Well,
might have been like the last live action one, but the last thing that he did voice wise and acting wise was the Godfather video game.
that's crazy. Sean Connery's last thing was just like Billy the sheep or this Billy goat or whatever. This like some upstart Scottish animation company. He's like, I'm a fucking sheep.
Look at me, I'm oh Sean Connery the sheep.
Oh,
It's kind of like
Billy.
when oh yeah, I'm Billy Connery. Sort of like
Yeah,
when he did the From Russia with Love video game, and it was just like I'm playing myself in '64, but I sound like Sean Connery at age 90.
yeah, he did. I mean, he did the video game, and then he did. I can't remember what the name of that movie is. Sir Billy, I think is what it's called. And he's like this grandpa, but he also skateboards, and he's like, so he's not a goat, but I think there's a sheep involved somehow. I don't want to know how at this point. But yeah, there's Sean Connery. So
And a sheep,
yeah,
sexiest man alive.
yeah. I just don't know how that happened, but you know, it's interesting to see these last roles of like these very famous, you know, well beloved actors, and they're like, oh, this is what you did at the very end. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. There is real quick. I wanted to make a movie that's so bad. They tried to make it for the BBC, and it got banned because they had a white guy play Michael Jackson. Everybody got upset about it. But there's this
What if he transformed to a black guy as it went on?
what okay, my son, okay, I guess I'm getting way off track here. My speaking of Transformers, my son is really into Michael Jackson right now. Like he knows the words to every song. Beat It. His favorite one's Leave Me Alone. Just leave me alone. He loves that song. And he keeps watching like the trailer for the new movie. He wants to see the movie. And he watches the videos. He goes, Daddy, change color. I'm like, what do you want me to say?
It's a
It's
long
like
story.
it's a long story. You're not ready to understand. But it's like he's different. He's changed colors. But there is this story, and I don't know how true it is, but it's supposedly pretty true that somehow or another, I think Michael Jackson was in Vegas with Brando and Elizabeth Taylor. I don't know if he's doing a residency or something. And 9/11 happens, and they get stranded at an airport. They're trying to fly somewhere. So they end up on a road trip.
This is a
And
movie in
like,
itself right here.
yeah, and then yeah, they try to make a movie out of it, and Marlon Brando keeps having to stop every 30 miles for like snacks and shit, and like Liz Potatoes getting all mad, and it's like Marlon, we gotta keep going, we're never gonna get. He's like, shut up, bitch, and like they keep having to stop for like snacks and everything. I
Marlon
want to,
Brando's just in his big old paws slapping Michael around.
yeah, Yeah. I want to see it. I want to see it, but they were good buddies, so
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Yeah. Hanging out in Neverland together.
Transformers the movie.
Maybe Marlon was being the real father figure that Michael's really looking for.
I can be your father figure. Probably. Oh man, I could do a whole podcast on Michael Jackson theories. But he wasn't in Transformers the movie. You know who what Weird Al though.
Yeah, Weird
Dare to be
Al's in it
stupid.
though.
Yeah, I thought when I didn't remember that song being in the movie. So when it shows up, I was like, oh, it's actually in the movie. I just thought it was one of those random throwaway things that they just put some random song on the soundtrack. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
I will say, even though as much as I love Weird Al, I do feel like I got kinda it is the one song in the movie that is a little bit kind of, like, off-putting compared to the rest of the soundtrack.
it doesn't fit at all.
I think in this it's really just the Weird Al lyrics don't fit, I think, for it. I think that actually, like, just the backing track of that works really well. The music in it
Yeah.
is really good, but
Yeah.
the lyrics are kinda strange for a Transformers movie. I think it's just that weird tie-in that, like, "Hey, Weird Al's popular with kids, Transformers is, let's put them together. Let's transform them together."
Yeah, I don't know how that all worked out, but yeah, he's in the movie, and I don't know. It doesn't fit. I think what they were going for is that what's that little group of, so they land on a junk planet at some point,
Yeah, and you
and
got Eric Idle, speaking of another big one on there.
there you go. Yeah, and so you have these weird like little clan of misfit robots who live on this junk planet, and all they do is watch TV, and their whole culture is just basically infomercials.
Yeah, so it's pretty much doing the Bumblebee thing way before Bumblebee in a sense.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of that in there, and so these characters are kinda zany and silly and, quite frankly, a little stupid, so I think that's what they were going for with the Weird Al thing, but it is kinda out of place. The music, though, to your point, isn't, though,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's the lyrics, just like, "Dare to be stupid," whatever,
Well, and then
but
then they have a big old party where all the robots are dancing and, getting hopped up on some kinda energon.
yeah, yeah, come on. Yeah, it's clearly drugs.
It's '80s.
Yeah, well, there's even a Dare song in this, though, so you would think, "Yeah, don't take some fucking drugs. Say no to drugs." Thanks, Nancy Reagan. Throat goat of Hollywood, they say back in the day.
Oh, there we go.
That's what they say. That's how she landed old Ronnie. Wasn't
Oh,
the
yeah.
jelly beans.
No, it wasn't.
No. Anyway, so fun fact, kids.
Learn something
s-
new every day.
yeah, she was a transformer. She'd be that guac guac 3000 is what they say. So, old Nancy. So, but yeah, this is it's a fun movie. It's traumatizing. Um, but I think for this is it's a grown up moment for kids. This
Mhm.
is we're taking the training wheels off the bike. Okay, this is your first sip of beer. Okay, no bumpers at the bowling alley.
Yep.
Okay, you're going in this thinking, okay, I'm going to get a kids movie. I'm a kid. I watch the Muppet Babies at home, and you go into this thinking you're going to get that same kind of thing, and all of a sudden they're killing your heroes. It's It's a grow the fuck up moment,
Yeah, it really
you
is,
know?
and I think it's a good one for that, and I think that's really what makes it work, and to top it off, it has, like, probably some of the most top tier animation ever. I mean, it's done by Toei, so, you're getting so it's pretty much an anime. I know that for some reason when I tell people that, like, an American cartoon is realistically just an anime because look at the credits, and they don't
Yeah.
wanna they don't wanna hear it. Like, when I told people that I remember I said that on The Last Unicorn, and some lady was just like, "It bothered her so much that I said that that was an anime." I'm like, "Dude, it's literally like Studio Ghibli, this who put this together." A
Yeah.
couple Americans did the American thing where you sit around in a room and, like, write a couple of things down on paper and then just pass it along with some money and say, "Figure this out."
Well, I mean, Transformers in itself is a Japanese toy line that they brought over and then kinda, like, restructured for an American audience. I mean,
Yeah.
so the whole thing is Japanese anyway. So it's
Eh,
like,
that's the
you
thing, it's
know
just Japanese from the start, because this is like that time period too where it's like, it's hard to find Americans doing actual animation anymore, even by
Yeah.
like the 80s. They kind of stopped by the 70s realistically.
Yeah.
The animation kind of started to dip as far as Americans go.
Well, even Disney at this point, is like when you watch like a Disney movie from the 80s, they've always done this, but they really did it in the 80s where they're just reusing old
Yeah.
pieces of animation for a movie and they'll just kind of draw over it and make it
Yeah,
fit.
rotoscope it pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so this was not a good time for animation. It really shocks me that they were able to get that shit together by the 90s, you know.
Yeah.
Because 90s you have a huge explosion before, pre Toy Story obviously, but you from like 88 to 95 it really comes back. Not just Disney,
Well, yeah,
but
it's Batman's the one that really does it,
yeah.
because Batman says like, "Hey, we can make a cool cartoon show that adults will like," in a sense. Because that was always
Yeah.
the thing that even as a kid, I noticed it right off the bat, like, when you'd watch a lot of times 70s and 80s stuff, it's just like, there was always it felt like something was kinda missing, and I would say that too, is like, Transformers the movie, I love the living daylights out of it. You watch Transformers the show, and I still like it, but it falls in that 80s kinda trap where it's kinda like, it's good, but it feels like it should be better in a sense.
Yeah. It does feel like it. That's where I think Batman the Animated Series, when you talk about best a kids movie of the 80s, maybe Transformers. But when you like this doesn't hold a candle to Batman the Animated Series or um Mask and the Phantasm
Yeah, well,
or
I still think I like this more than I like Mask of the Phantasm,
ooh,
Transformers. And
I
this
don't know
comes
if
from
I can
someone
say
who's a
that.
big Batman fan, but I think for me is I got a lot of nostalgia with this '86 movie, but I also think animation-wise, the animation's just so killer, and I think the fact that
Yeah.
because this is one of the main things you just do not get, even if somebody does a 2D animated stuff, in, like, the last 25 years, is people do not animate vehicles anymore, and animated vehicles, like, in full movement and everything like that it's just such a sight to behold.
Yeah. Well, this movie has that in spades. I mean, the whole thing looks really, really good. Um, the thing that I don't see people talk about this as much, but whatever planet that was they were on, where they had you know, the shark transformers
Mhm.
down in the pool, like in the yellow water, the pea water, and then you had like they're holding a kangaroo court essentially, and it was like the three-headed monster saying innocent and guilty, and then there was the main guy with the snake hands. As you're explaining it, it sounds crazy, but that was like my favorite scene in the movie. Like
I
that
like
whole
that one a
thing
lot.
was, yeah, that was to me the best part, the most interesting part, because that would have been like a really good episode of the season. Which another thing I'll say is that I really feel like this would have been a better season of a show, separating all these characters. Optimus Prime dies like episode 1 or at the end of episode 1, and then you have all these things to play out over the season. You can spend some time with Unicron, you can spend some time on the junk planet, you can spend some time over here. There's a lot of stuff shoved in this movie. It works as a movie, it's paced really well, but it would have been really interesting to see how they would have played this, out from a season standpoint, but I
Yeah,
don't
because
know.
they do go pretty fast and jump around all kinds of locations, like,
Yeah.
really quick, which I give them also credit for that too, but I could definitely see where you could expand that out and really kinda dial in and give a lot more characters a little bit more background and everything like that, because they introduce a crap ton of characters as well. not only do you have all like the older characters, but like a lot of the newer characters too. They just come in droves.
Yeah. It's it's a lot. This movie is a lot. It's very sensory overload. You're bouncing around from places, and then this isn't necessarily a critique, but it is kind of jarring the way like this movie you don't want it to set you up too much because it keys you off on what's about to happen. But also it does feel very jarring the way you're just now you're at another planet. Like, okay, where are these people now? Because you're still learning who these characters are and you're still learning what's happening. Like basically all the things that you know going into this movie, all the characters you know are gone.
Hmm.
You're learning these new characters, and then you're also jumping around from place to place. So it's a lot to keep up with, honestly. And so they interviewed kids coming out of the theater, like, "What do you think?" I don't know what I saw, but it was fun. It was shiny and bright and colorful, and I want more toys. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it worked. And then for people like me who this was kind of like, in a sense, my Transformers introduction was this movie, because I looked at like these characters, like the ones that are in here, like Cup and RC and Hot Rod and all that stuff. Those are the ones I looked upon as like, and even with Optimus and everything, those are my main characters. Where like all the other ones where you kind of saw them in just the background, like Bumblebee and stuff. Like I never felt like I had as much of a connection to Bumblebee because of that, even though I know he's one of the main characters in the original, seasons.
yeah, I mean, he's barely in here. I mean, and you have the dad Witwicky, and then now you're really pushing the son Witwicky, who says shit in this movie, which really blew my mind. Honestly, I know it's like,
Yeah, you got some swearing. There's a couple dams and hells in here too.
yeah, yeah, it was very, Raphael in, the first Ninja Turtle movie saying "damn," you
Yeah.
know, and things like that. Very jarring, but I wonder how parents really felt about this movie, but, you know,
Well, this
uh
reminds me of one of those ones where like because I always think about that when like you picture a parent getting drugged to like one of these movies, and you kind of wonder what that experience is like. And there's some that I feel like they could kind of handle, and other ones where it's just like, Jesus, get me out of here. One of those kind of moments.
yeah.
Transformers, I don't know. It probably been very sensory overload for an older person kind of going into it. But at least it's kinda a little bit more like it's cars, it's things of that nature. It's not like when the parent gets dragged to, like, an anime movie, and it's just like, here comes exposition for 15 minutes at high speed, and you're just like, "What the hell is going on?" Or the one that I always think about is Pokemon, the first movie, because the movie starts off, and it's got, like, Pikachu's Island Adventure or whatnot. So I just picture an adult walking in there, and for the first 15 minutes, nobody's even speaking English. It's just like, "Pika, Pika, Pika, Bubba, Bubba, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Mander," and you're like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah. I'm still like that with Pokemon, to be honest with you. My kids are kind of jumping into that again a little bit, and I'm like, I'll watch it in the morning. I'm like, I have never resonated with that.
See,
Like,
well,
I'm
that's
not
the thing is
anti Pokemon. It's never hit me. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
well, and there's some of those ones too that, like, if you don't kinda there's a certain pocket window that if you don't really make it in on that one thing, it might not captivate you and so on like that. You just missed it, and this, like, it's not that you necessarily don't like it, it's just like, you weren't able to, like, really take it in. That's how sometimes
Yeah.
when people try to tell me about, like, they'll be talking about SpongeBob or something like that. I'm like, that 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 was past my time. I saw it, it was there, but I know nothing about that. I know SpongeBob and Patrick's the only 2 characters, and I only know that just because of other people talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I feel that way about Transformers a little bit because I think if I would have been like you and you when you got into Transformers, because we're a few years apart in age, Turtles is already going back down. So everything at that point was like looking back a little bit. If you're watching Ghostbusters, the animated series or whatever, it was like looking back. But because I was so in the zeitgeist with Ninja Turtles, that I kind of
Mhm.
missed out on Transformers and stuff. But I always kind of felt like He Man, Thundercats, Transformers, G.I. Joe. I'm missing a big one in there. I mean, you kind of throw Ghostbusters in there, even though that was more late 80s. Um, that's like one era. And then, well, Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters is the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Going
y
into, yeah,
well, and that's kinda how it's sorta like He-Man. He-Man's that one too that I felt like I sorta kinda missed that wave too. Like, I wasn't
definitely.
'cause they didn't really replay a lot of those shows too, so I just never really saw
Same.
He-Man. 'Cause
Yeah.
for me, I know He-Man from the Dolph Lundgren movie. That's what I know it
Yeah.
from. I didn't really get to see the cartoon show till way later in life, and I don't know why that was that, like, they didn't a lot of things just didn't get the syndication. It's like Transformers, like, I don't remember Transformers getting syndicated on TV again till, like, the 2000s. Was, like, when the first time I remember it coming, because I remember they started playing Transformers and G.I. Joe again on, like, maybe, I don't know, Cartoon Network or something like that. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's badass." They're finally pulling those back out. It's been so long. You had to literally get the VHSs. It was the only way to get it, or if somebody had a taped off TV copy.
I think the difference between us as 90s kids versus 80s kids is the way it would work was you'd have either a toy line that you were promoting and then the show, and then you make a movie out of the show, or so much of the shit we watched in the 90s was actually based off of a movie. So
Yeah, there's
already,
a
I mean, think of how many animated shows. I mean, Men in Black, Mighty Ducks, Beetlejuice,
Godzilla.
Godzilla. I mean, Back to the Future.
Mhm.
Um, so many of them. Even going back to technically Ghostbusters, which is kind of like a alternate version of Ghostbusters. But
Well, then even other stuff too is right, because in a sense, the '80s actually, I gotta give them credit for this. A lot of stuff was kind of a little bit more on the original end,
yeah,
where even in like the '90s, Batman, Spider-Man, X-Men, Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario Brothers, all that kind of stuff. It's like it's all based off something. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like a brand new IP, which is actually kind of ballsy when you think about so many of the '80s ones. It's like, no, 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 these things are just straight up. When you saw that cartoon, this was a brand new thing. It wasn't like, you know, based off a '60s thing or something like that.
yeah, that was a weird thing for us. So that's why I think you don't see a lot of like '90s cartoon IPs being made into movies because they were already fucking movies or already something existing. I mean, Tiny Toon Adventures.
Yeah.
Um, I think probably the most original stuff that we got in the '90s, honestly, was Nicktoons.
Yeah,
Like,
that actually realistically was, and ironically, as a kid in the '90s, I didn't like the Nicktoons stuff because I didn't
yeah,
like the weird animation.
yeah,
I
I
can
love,
appreciate it now, but, like, when I was a kid, it was like I would watch the live action Nickelodeon stuff, but you would never catch me, like, watching any cartoons off of Nickelodeon.
yeah, I love Doug, loved Rocco's Modern Life, and I
I'll
liked
say Rocko's was
Rugrats.
one of the few ones. Rocko's
Yeah,
was I didn't watch it all the time, but that was one of the ones I remember going like, that one I can kinda handle.
yeah. Ren and Stimpy's the one I did not like. And I know a lot of people will get mad at me about that, but I did not like Ren and Stimpy at all. But I understand the appeal to some people. It's so
Yeah.
irreverent that some people really dig that. But um, yeah, like there wasn't a whole lot of originality with the cartoons. It was either based off of a toy line or based off of a movie.
Yeah, pretty
Except for
much,
like
or a
Nicktoons
video game, because that was the
or a
other big
video
one.
game. Oh yeah,
Like Carmen
that's true.
Sandiego and all that kinda stuff.
Yeah. There was more originality in the non-animated shows, I think, in the '90s, but for kids anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just that's how it goes. I know there's exceptions I'm not thinking of, Dexter's
Cowboys of Moo
Laboratory.
Mesa.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's
Pirates of
all the
Dark Water.
yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And then all
there
the
is so,
Ninja Turtle
but sadly,
knockoffs.
all those ones are the ones that didn't last longer than one season.
No. Bucky O'Hare, you
Yeah.
know, Biker Mice from Mars. There's so many. But gargoyles though.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good example of a pretty strong, like, original IP that did go for
Yeah.
3 seasons.
And of course our favorite, SWAT Cats.
Yeah, SWAT Cats, the Radical Squadron.
Rad. Yeah. Best '90s cartoon show. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Oh, I love the living daylights out of that
Yeah, SWAT
one.
Cats was so good. SWAT Cats was so good. But yeah, I think that was one big difference. But '80s had a really cool look. I still think Thundercats looks the best though.
I love Thundercats. That was one of the ones I used to watch a lot as a kid.
That intro for Thundercats might be the best animation I've ever seen.
Yeah. Sometimes those
It's
interests,
so good.
they put so much effort into those things.
Oh man, yeah, because you have like, listen, go hard as you can. Give me 2 minutes of like oh, we could do that, and
Yeah.
those 2 minute intros or whatever, minute and 30 seconds. Holy shit! I mean, even Transformers and GI Joe was like that
Yep.
too, but Thundercats was like the shit.
Yeah. No,
So
I agree. I've been kinda wanting to sit down and watch Thundercats again because I haven't I probably haven't seen it since the '90s, to tell you the truth.
My son was watching a little bit of that. I can't remember which place we found it, but we watched a little bit of Thundercats and a little bit of Street Sharks.
Yes, I got that
Because
whole one on season set, or I got the whole collection.
yeah, he was really interested in that for some reason. My son's always liked sharks. Anything sharks, he's all about that. So he's like, it's like Ninja Turtles, but they're sharks. I'm like, that's kind of
Yeah,
true. I mean,
yeah, that's
yeah.
pretty much it.
Um, but Transformers the movie, really interesting cast, bold decisions.
Mhm.
Um, I think in the immediate sense were not good decisions, but in the long run, gave this movie a legacy. If they don't kill Optimus Prime, I don't know if we're still talking about this movie. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
feel like if it wasn't, it would've just got kinda lumped into, like, the TV show if it didn't have as much ballsy stuff on there. And I do think it's
I
one of those
agree.
ones, as much as that shocks a lot of times, like, the '80s kids, I think for, like myself, if you came to this a little bit later in the '90s when you were picking it up at the video store and so on like that, it had a completely different effect on you. You didn't see it
Yeah.
the same way that they did.
Well, it definitely didn't for me as a 90s kid too. Like watching this much later, it didn't have the emotional resonance that it did with kids in the 80s.
Yeah.
It was more about just like, oh, that's well, just the perspective of it from a marketing decision was like,
Yeah, even
oh,
a marketing
that's
decision, it's just like, you're just cutting that off, you
yeah,
know?
that's like, I mean, that's some bullshit. You've got something, Optimus Prime is a brand within a brand. So
Yeah.
like when you're like cutting that off, that's new Coke.
Yeah, well, that's like cutting Batman out of the anime, you know what I mean? Like, what are
Yeah.
we going to go see now? Well, we got
Yeah.
Robin and we got Nightwing and we got
Yeah.
Batgirl and all these,
Yeah.
all
Yeah. Yeah. It's not gonna
Alfred's gonna
work.
put a mask on.
Yeah. Please don't. Um, yeah, it just doesn't work. Bruce Wayne's dead. Yeah, you can't break. Yeah. Nightwing's cool, but Nightwing's cool with Batman, you know?
Yeah, yeah, you kinda gotta have the Bat family, or at least you gotta have some kind of Donkey Kong Country 2 story where, like, they're going to save Batman, he's, held captive or something like that.
Yeah, Batman's gotta be there in the Batman universe. But they did this and it worked out for the most part. Maybe not the way they wanted initially, but in the long
Mhm.
run, um, it worked. I think I sent you they're doing like a apology tour this year.
So stupid. I
It's
when I see that stuff, that backpedaling thing, I'm like, "No, no, no." I think I like the idea because there's even, like, that guy that's on, like, the special features of, like, Hasbro's like, kids were fucking crying in the movie theater, like, I was like, "We were just trying to get the new toys out, like, what are you bitching about?" But I just feel it's like one of those ones. I like the idea when someone just holds to it, be like, "No, we killed Optimus Prime. You know what? We were teaching a goddamn fucking lesson here, you know?"
you little bitch ass kids.
You know
Oh
what?
my gosh.
Sometimes your hero doesn't always make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be, no, my kids aren't watching MASH. Okay. Like, no, it's
Speaking of
like,
good theme songs.
yeah, 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 that's true. Yeah, no, I'll just let the kid shows be kid shows. We don't need some grizzled old, like 7-year-old. You don't remember when they killed Prime, like sipping out of his chocolate milk? I was there. I saw it
Death,
happen. Yeah.
death, what do you all know about death?
Yeah. What do you know about death? You weren't there when they killed Prime and they gave the Matrix a leadership to some bitch. Undeserving bitch. Oh man. Ultra Magnus is a cool name though.
Yeah, Ultimax. Rodimus Prime's a good name too. I don't care.
They're very phallic and
And the fact that
somehow.
he's a transforming hot rod semi truck is kind of badass.
Yeah, like what? Oh man. The gun thing still bothers me though. Like all these guys are like vehicles. Like get on board.
Yeah,
Be a tank.
yeah, that's what he should have been as a villain because mostly, if you notice, all the Autobots are generally just cars and normal things like that. Where pretty
Hmm.
much all the Decepticons are mostly like war machines, like
Yeah.
they're fighter jets and tanks and helicopters and all these things that that kind of kill. And then you have like the random stuff like the construction bots or whatever, and the Dino bots who are supposed to be kind of like caveman intelligence and a robot.
Yeah. They did the Dinobots way cool, like cooler way later though. Like they fixed them up.
Yeah, well, because I will say that there is some goofy stuff I think, and as much as I love the Transformers movie. There is a couple, like, just goofy stuff in there that is just kinda like that childish humor that you feel like as a kid you watch, you're like, "This stuff is so adult," and everything like that. But then there's always like, "And there's the Dinobots talking, and I don't know how I'm supposed to sell this to, like, your parents back in the day being to try to say how, like, intelligent this thing is," and then the Dinobots is like, "Me, Grimlock, we wanna hear more war stories."
Yeah. No, Grimlock annoys the fuck out of me. Grimlock is, oh gosh, he's just, it was like funny for 2 seconds and then it just wears on you.
Yeah, it's
It
just like
and plus the
there's
robots, the Dinobots look kind of stupid. Like it's not a really good design.
yeah, I like when they transform together, but
Yeah, that well, yeah, the very Power Rangers, I get it, but like the whole thing is just the way it works in this movie is probably the worst part of the movie. I
it's
still
kinda
think,
odd, and they're there for
yeah,
a bit. They're kinda like almost like the George Lucas characters of the movie.
the Jar Jar, and that's okay. I mean, but the Dinobots, like in theory, I like, and I like what they've done with them later, but just in this movie, it's a weak point. It's kind of a
Yeah.
weak point.
I mean, I get it
But
as far as, like, if you're trying to make the most, like, amped up, like, 8-year-olds, like, especially male 8-year-olds, like, perfect adventure, you got robots, cars, dinosaurs,
it's just
tanks,
like,
fighter jets,
yeah,
then there's also construction robots and everything. Like, I
a
mean, you
gun.
yeah, a gun, like, it's everything like a boy wants, you know what I mean?
It really is. They really try. That was the beautiful thing about Transformers. Now that you mention it, they really could just get every facet of the boys' toy market. They could like it could be anything.
Yeah, it's just everything a boy likes in a machine, and computers, like, it's all there, you
Yeah,
know?
and the gun.
And a
Eh,
gun.
Yeah, I look back at some um Christmas photos recently of me, and I'm probably in this one photo, probably my son's age, probably like 3-ish, 4-ish. So, and I got one of the toys I got for Christmas was a toy gun, and this thing looked fucking real, man. This is not like
Before they put that
today.
stupid little orange tip on there or
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
don't think it has the orange tip. It's like I might try to find a picture of it and like insert it into this conversation because this thing looked like I'm just sitting there in the living room at my grandparents' house and I got like a fucking gun in my hand, like it looks legit. And I don't know if it's the same gun that this happened with, but my mom said she got when we first moved to like Camp Lejeune area, when we moved down to the coast, she said that we got pulled over and the cop came up to the car. I guess my mom was speeding or something and went to say something to him. And I said, stick him up. And I had a gun, like a toy gun to the cop. Like
If
I
you
would
were a
not have
black
survived.
kid, you would've been shot.
It's like, yeah, yeah. I will take my white privilege on that one. Sorry, I'm fine with taking that one.
Well,
But
but before,
yeah.
like, 9/11, I was on an airplane from Hawaii or whatnot, and I had a toy gun in my bag, and it set off the sensors and everything like that, and I remember they pulled me aside and everything like that, and they're, like, going through my bag and whatnot at customs. Yeah, and they literally pulled this gun out that was, like, my uncle gave it to me. It was, like, a banana-shaped squirt gun that said, like, "I went bananas in Hawaii," or something like that, but when it came up on the X-ray thing, it just looked like I had a a handgun in my bag.
You're just like 8 in customs. Uh, think at least they didn't do a cavity search.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Speaking of
gosh.
Rodimus fucking, Ultra Magnus and Beavis and Butthead Do America,
Yeah.
more cavity searches.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's good times. The halcyon days. So but yeah, Transformers the movie. Go watch it.
It's so
What are you
good.
doing? It's I think it's on Prime right now, which it should be. It
Yeah,
should
I
stay
I
there.
own it in multiple formats. I got it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, digital, you
Yeah.
know. I like it that much, and it's that thing that once again, as I said, I was thinking all day long, I don't know if there's an animated movie out there that I like more than Transformers. I mean, just personally, that is.
Yeah. Um I'm in the 80s, Land Before Time's probably my number one. Um but this is probably number two. And I mean, part of that's the fault because the 80s animation is so
Yeah. I mean, for
not
me, probably
good.
my second favorite's heavy metal, but I like Transformers more like heavy metal.
Yeah. Black Cauldron, it's okay.
Yeah,
I
I
know a
actually
lot
like
of people.
I like Black
Yeah.
Cauldron pretty much. It's got one dumb character in it that I
Yeah.
hoped was gonna die, and then they brought him back to life. And it's like, what is this fucking bullshit? Like you finally got rid of the Jar Jar character, and then you like resurrect him at the end. It's like, no, 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 no.
Yeah. Damn.
But I still like
Um,
that one. I
yeah, I
actually,
do too.
I'm personally one of those people that likes the '80s era of Disney like quite a bit. Like a lot of my favorite Disney movies are actually from the '80s.
I mean, I couldn't say that all the way through, definitely like Black Cauldron, but I do like dark fantasy, and that plays into a lot of 80s
Yeah,
animation, and then, even
Last
so
Unicorn.
yeah. Dark fantasy is really cool, and they did it really well, and even this has some slight elements to that, but, um, it's a fun movie. I mean, you get, like, a real part of this movie, a good chunk of this movie feels like an actual war movie. I mean, it's doesn't feel like a kid's movie at all.
No,
It's
there's
not
a lot of
even
casualties.
yeah, a lot of casualties, the stakes are really, really high. Everybody's getting separated. It feels like a war zone. It feels like shit really, really hit the fan. And everything's off the table. We'll kill your leaders. Your favorite character can get chopped off. Doesn't matter. Bumblebee's, out in the ether for most of the movie. So it it's really, really, really interesting. It's for whatever happened at the time, we look back at it differently now. So it's a shame it didn't make more money because we could have got more. But I feel like Transformers had a much smaller window than some of these other ones in terms of its initial run. Now it's still super popular, and we're making Transformer movies every 3 years right now. But you know,
Yeah, there was a moment where it was just kind of like a flash in the pan thing. It only really was around for 3 years,
yeah,
and then it wasn't till Beast Wars came out in, like, what, '95 or whatever, that it kinda had its somewhat resurgence. But even at that time period, that was that thing where, like, I think a lot of people didn't put 2 and 2 together that that was the same thing,
yeah, it was very niche.
you know?
Um,
Yeah,
but
and then, it wasn't till, yeah, the Michael Bay movies that had that kind of resurgence for, better or worse, whatever you wanna kinda say. At the end of the day, though, still the '86 movie is way more impactful, way more intelligent, way more Transformers-like than all the Michael Bay ones combined.
well, I will say the thing about this era is this is the best era of Transformers in terms of not just the narrative, but aesthetically,
The
just the
look,
look, the
feel.
feel, the attitude. This is the best version of it. Is
Yeah.
that they get it nailed down. The only character I think that they've done better with going forward is Bumblebee,
Yeah,
but
because they had a lot more depth to Bumblebee as time, because Bumblebee is kind of, well, I'll even say this, if you look at the characters, like, the new ones that they have for the movie compared to the old ones, it's like, they did finally, like, they kinda, like, tripled, like, the details and love. I mean, I know it's a movie, but, they really actually added a lot more depth to, like, a lot of the newer characters than, like, some of the older characters.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's things to be said about the new stuff. There's things to be said about the old stuff, but I still think that look is what people want. And again, we're going back to that first like 10, 15 minutes of Bumblebee. That's what you get. They look
It's
like
good.
yeah, the era, and even that one, the Rise of the Beast, whatever they did.
Mhm, they had a little
About
bit of
a
the
year,
Beast Wars in it.
yeah, I mean, they kept with that. Like, that's the post Michael Bay Transformers, and
Yeah.
people got so tired of it that they didn't do too well. Because I don't even know if they have one in development right now.
I know. Well, those movies just kinda kept coming out, and I think they're that thing. They're like a Fast and the Furious movie where people just showed up anyways. "Ah, let's just see what happens this time." And I
Yeah,
felt like that's what kinda kept the money kinda just flowing into them.
yeah, and the shameful part of it is that once people kind of got tired of it at about the same time they started getting good, because the last two were good. I thought they were way better than the
Well, I
Michael
did
Bay
think that
ones.
they kinda picked up more as time, as I said, like, I think the Marky Mark ones kinda picked up a little bit more interesting than, the first couple of them.
Yeah, I do like Shia LaBeouf though. I know people want me to hate him, but I can't.
Yeah. I
I
came
can't.
around to him. He took a moment, but I like him nowadays,
I
you
didn't
know?
like him in Indy, but I liked him other
I
stuff.
didn't like him initially. Now I kind of go, "Okay, I'll accept it," I don't
Yeah,
dislike him as much.
yeah. But yeah, Transformers the movie, I'm pretty sure it's on Prime as anything with Optimus Prime should be. But
Yeah.
I watched it. Well, I watched some of it on VHS, but I need to get head cleaners. My VCR is kind of looking rough, so I think I watched it on YouTube.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I did, because they have a, Hasbro, I want to say Hasbro Prime, but it could be called something else. But they have, like, a Hasbro channel, and it has all the seasons of you could watch the old Transformer show too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, they did
Yeah.
have GI Joe as well too. I think those companies are finally getting savvy to like just upload your shit on YouTube. That you're literally going to probably make more money that way, anyways.
You get more eyes to it, and hit the target audience, you know?
Hmm.
So, but, that's it for, Transformers, the movie. I know we kinda went everywhere with this one, but, see it, watch it, tell us what you think. Um, Let us know what your thoughts are. Obviously, you can find us on social media at Via VHS and at VHS Via VHS Pod on Instagram, and let us know what you think about everything, and please like and subscribe. We're trying to grow this shit. Like I never say actually subscribe, but it would be really cool if you did. So, especially if you're watching this part of the episode, like
Yeah, you'd be a lot cooler if you did.
a lot cooler if you did. So, and yeah, shout out real quick the Surge movement, because trying to do some cool stuff with Surge movement and try to get Surge soda back
Mm.
in stores. Hopefully next year, because next year will be the 30th anniversary.
No, that's important then. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got to have a surge. And if a kid's never had a surge, he's in for a treat. Or
Yeah, I
she.
mean, I don't wanna give my kids, like, soda like that, but
I wouldn't, but
If Surge came
if
back
it was
out,
somebody else's kid, I would totally give him a surge.
yeah, I
Just
mean, if Surge comes back out, I'm gonna have a Surge.
yeah,
I mean, come on. So, it's a once in a lifetime experience.
exactly.
Hopefully, it'll be during the summer because he can't take that shit and go to school. There's no fucking way. Um, like, the teacher will be like, "Come up here and get this kid. What the fuck did you give him?" "Oh, nothing. I just had breakfast." "Oh,
Just a little surge, little
a
breakfast
little
surge.
little bit of breakfast, Surge, and uh, you know. So yeah, that wouldn't work out very well. But yeah, Surge soda, bring it back. Tell Coca Cola if you don't bring it back, you're a bunch of bitches. Which this is the
Yeah,
only
that,
Coke product. Look at this. It's the only Coke product I'm gonna drink. Surge. So that's my 2 cents. But anyway, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
I think I'm all good.
All right. Well, thank y'all for listening. I appreciate it. And Via VHS is out.